This is a Cameroon Journal editorial with the subject Federation or Independence. The people must have the final say. Again, the subject is whether federation or independence. The people must have the final say. In his first outing to the media, precisely to Equinox Television, the recently released Justice Ayah presented rather very forcefully what he believes is the way forward to resolving the current crisis in the southern Cameroons with the government of La République du Cameroun. Justice Ayah stated in that outing, and I did like to quote the section that is relevant to this editorial. What was done in Fumban, he said, was just a sham, a charade. Justice Ayah said, continuing, he added, the solution is that we should sit at a round table. I insist on that. I stand on those words, he said. Ayah continued, and I quote, a round table where there will be no master. It will be a meeting between two peoples. We have been recognized by the international community as a people. So Cameroon has two peoples, the Francophones and Anglophones. We sit there as peoples equal in status, and we set down the terms of our coming together. Justice Ayah said, we agree, well. If we agree, well and good. If we don't, we go our separate ways. That is the only solution. Anything out of that is just playing to the gallery, concluded Justice Ayah. Why at the Cameroon Journal we agree with the fundamentals of Justice Ayah's diagnosis of the southern Cameroon's problem. We are totally in disagreement to his prescription to the direction the cure should take. When he suggests, for example, that if we agree, well and good. If we don't, we go our separate ways. It appears that Justice Ayah still wants to take us through the route we have already traveled since 1991 with the Tripartite Conference and 1993 with the AAC1 in Boya. He is saying that let's have comprehensive dialogue and put everything back on the table. And if La République agrees, well and good, but if not, we go our way. Justice Ayah ought to know that we have already been there. We got there in 1994 with the Bamenda Proclamation coming out of AAC2. And again, we were there last December and January when our lawyers and teachers met with the government authorities again and again. But instead of listening to them, they were all bundled and sent to jail, including Justice Ayah himself. Coming out of detention where he remained in solitary confinement for over 6 months, Justice Ayah was rather in a rush to make that statement, we believe. The statement is totally in contradiction to the fact that while he was in jail, the direction of the struggle shifted. Most of them were arrested because they preached a return to federation. But while they were held in jails, majority of the people in southern Cameroon, including even the Secretary General of his own political party in the person of Akoson Raymond, have since abandoned federalism in preference to complete independence for the southern Cameroons. This is not to suggest by any means that everyone is a separatist or that people leaning towards federation should be ignored. Not at all. We should not fool ourselves. One of two things is going to happen at the end of this crisis. The southern Cameroons will either attain its total sovereignty or at the least get Cameroon back to a federal arrangement that guarantees the rights and freedoms of each geographical region and, of course, self-rule. But the question is, How do we get there? Here is where we have contention and disagreement with Justice Ayah's suggestion about some roundtable conference or dialogue forum to resolve the crisis. That is not the way we want this struggle to end. Sitting in a conference or a dialogue table, as Justice Ayah and some others are suggesting, presupposes that some individuals would have to be handpicked to represent or make decisions on that table on the behalf of the over 8 million Southern Cameroonians. The fundamental problem and perhaps question is, when such a moment comes, when the time comes, who picks or selects the individuals that represents all of us on that table? And what happens if the handpicked people are bribed or compromised to endorse resolutions that do not reflect exactly the form of government we are all yearning for? And if that happens, what recourse are we left with? Concerns such as these are some of the reasons why at the Cameroon Journal we continue to push the point that only a referendum can provide a widely acceptable and an enduring solution to this crisis. Nobody and no group should be entrusted, not even members of the interim governing council, with the responsibility of sitting in some conference and by themselves making a fix for all of us. Southern Cameroonians should resist the temptation of selecting some delegates to sit in a conference whose particular specific goal is to resolve the crisis in its entirety or decide for the rest of us what form of government we want. That ultimate responsibility must be that of the people to collectively decide. The only form of government that we will accept, be it federation with la République du Cameroon or complete independence, must be that form of government that every Southern Cameroonian is given the chance to vote for through a referendum. And this means that should la République du Cameroon reject a referendum as part of the agenda going into any initial dialogue or conference, then the invitation for dialogue should simply be ignored or rejected by the Southern Cameroon's leadership until such a time when la République du Cameroon really mean business. Having gone this far in this struggle, we are past the point where we allow them to want to dictate the outcome of the fight. We are not by any means suggesting that we reject dialogue if and when the opportunity comes. We are rather suggesting that any conference that sits over this struggle should not be expected to be the one that comes up with solutions, particularly to what form of government we want. The people of the Southern Cameroon must be the ones with the final say, and that only through a referendum. Questions at the referendum will specify whether or not we want a federation as part of la République du Cameroon or an independent state of the Southern Cameroons. Whatever turns out to be the result, we will accept it. Anything short of that, arrive at some forum or some conference, must be fiercely resisted. Again, this came to you from the Cameroon Journal. You can read the script of this editorial later in the day at our website, cameroonjournal.com. And you can reach us at editor@cameroonjournal.com. Again, the email address is editor@cameroonjournal.com. I am Chris Anu, and thanks for listening today.